Hello students, welcome to exercise 05 for Autodesk Inventor 2020. Open Autodesk Inventor 2020 and let's start a new part. And let's go to Tools, Document Settings, Units, and make sure the length says millimeter. Apply and close. Click 3D Model. Click on Start a 2D Sketch and click on the XY plane. Exercise 05 looks pretty complicated on it just by looking at it right off the bat, but I'm going to break it down to hopefully make it an easy part for you to create. So what we're going to look at is how the technical drawing gives us all of the information. So for example, if we look at the top view here, we see how it says this length between this center point and the end of the part is 130 millimeters. We don't get the full length right off the bat. We actually have to do a little bit of math in our head. So we see that it says R20 right here on this outside radius. So the radius is from the center point of a circle to the end of the circle. So what that means is that this length from here to the end is 130 plus 20. So that would be a total length of 150. So we know that now that we know that knowledge, we can draw the front view here like an L shape so 150 this line, and then whatever this is, we'd have to do the same thing. So from here it's 40, then this outside radius is 50, 50 plus 40 is 90. So that's what we would draw. We would draw an L shape like that, and then what we can do in our extrude, or when the model is a solid model, we can put fillets on the ends or the corners in order to get the rounded parts. Or we can draw it just like we see it. So there's a lot of different ways that we could tackle this particular part. So hopefully the way I do it makes the most sense and probably will be the easiest, hopefully. So let's get started with that. I'm going to be using the line tool, so click line tool. And let me go back here. So I know that this thickness right here is 10. So I'm going to start, I clicked, let me press escape to get out of that. Click on line. So I'm going to go to the origin, I'm going to click, I'm going to move up, and I want that to be 10. So as I'm moving up, I want to make sure that I'm perpendicular or 90 degrees from that origin point. I'm going to type 10 and enter. I'm going to zoom out using my mouse. And let me go back to this. So this is going to be a total length of 150. So let's make this 150. Go down. We'll cut this up. We'll trim this up. I'm tapping escape. I'm going to delete this dimension. All I did was click on the dimension, press delete on the keyboard. I'm going to dimension the bottom one and make sure that that's 150. Now we're going to add this section right here. So the diameter is 50. That's what that says right here. So from the end to end is 50. That means from this edge to the left is 50. So let me draw a line here. And I'm going to make that line, let's see, that's going to be 30 right here. And then half of 50 is 25, because the radius, if we operate off of the radius, that's going to be 25. So 30 plus 25 is 55. You can also do math inside of Inventor. So watch this. So I'm going to type 30 plus 25, enter. It'll give us the number. I'm going to click the line tool. I'm going to draw a line going up here, and I'm going to see if that lines up. Click and click. Okay, I think maybe I did that the hard way. You could have done that with rectangles. But let's look at the dimension now. So from this line to the bottom, I'm going to accept. That should be 65. I think I said it all wrong in the beginning. So the diameter is 50, so half of the diameter is 25. So 40 plus 25 should say 65. So that's right. Okay, good. That's what we want. Click trim, trim that up. And this is going to be the basis of our part. So we can finish sketch, or I'm going to start over and show you a different way. So I'm going to click on rectangle, go from origin over, and then dimension. So this should be 10. This should be, what did I say it was? 150. Let me double check. 130 plus 20, yeah, 150. And then I can use the rectangle tool to go from this corner and over, and then dimension that to be 50. And then the bottom from here to the top should be 65. Okay, so that's another way. Whichever way you feel is best, that's the way you do it. Click trim, trim up these lines we don't need, and click finish sketch. Click on the home of the view cube, and now we know that in the right side view the depth is 40, so the extrude should be 40 for the length. Click OK. Now let's add our fillets. So the outside fillet on this part is going to be 50 diameter, 25 radius. And if you know anything, if you've done this before in the last videos, you'll see sometimes this little menu doesn't pop up. If that doesn't pop up, that's okay. Just go into the actual fillet menu where it says radius and type in the radius first, and then click on the corners that you want to create that fillet on. Okay, so that should work. Okay, so that is 50. The radius was 50. I'm sorry, the radius was 25 because, let's remember, radius means from the center point to the edge of the circle. The diameter is the edge of the circle to the edge of the circle. So always try to remember that, and always make sure you're putting in the correct dimensions. The radius on the outside circle here is 20. So that'll be easy because it's already in radius. So now we just change radius to 20. And then we click on the corners. Okay, you can see that your mouse, when you place it over a corner, it'll highlight it. You don't need to spin the part around. You can if you want to, by clicking on the corners of the view cube and seeing it work that way. Okay, so it was already in radius. The technical drawing was already in radius, so just make it 20, click apply, and click OK. Or just close that menu. So now we have pretty much the body of the part. Let's go ahead and make this hole, which has a diameter of 30. Okay, I'm going to click on home. Let's move our mouse on this surface, right click, new sketch, click on front so that moves over. Make sure you click on project geometry, click on that surface so that way you get the center of that half circle here. Click on circle, click on that center mark, and the diameter, I forgot already, was 30. Oops, undo, Control Z. So that was 30 for the diameter. Finish sketch, and extrude cut. So we're going to click on cut, we're going to click on that circle, we're going to make sure it's clicked on through all, and then OK. Great, let's cut out this section here. Okay, so I'm not going to do it on this side. I'm actually going to click on the corner here to flip it over. I'm going to cut from this surface in this direction. So I'm going to right click on this surface, click on new sketch. I'm going to click on project geometry and click on that surface there. Now we're going to draw a rectangle, so click rectangle, and above the part click and drag it down until it snaps onto that line right around here. And then we need to dimension it. So the sides are going to be 10, and that's all we actually really need to worry about. So, clicking on dimension, I'm going to click on this line right here, and click on this line right here. Move the mouse up and over, and that dimension should be 10 on this side, and then we'll do the opposite. Click dimension, click this line, click 10, and there's your, that's it. You need to make sure that your rectangle is above the part so it cuts through the whole thing. Finish sketch, click extrude, click through all, click cut, and then click on, you're gonna actually need to click on both those surfaces, it looked like, because that projection cut that line in half, or cut that rectangle in half. Click OK. Our last step is to make this slot. And so now let's click on home, right click on this surface, click new sketch, click on project geometry, and click on the half circle to get your center to line up here. Okay, drop down the menu for rectangle, click on center to center slot. Let's go back. So the center between the centers of these two right here is 40. So click on the center and go to the right, and you can type 40, press enter. Let me go back to the drawing. The radius is 10, which means that the diameter is 20, and when you're making a center to center slot, it operates as the diameter, so make that say 20. Yeah, that's right. Click finish sketch, extrude, cut through all, okay. And there we have it. There is exercise 05, totally 3D modeled. Now, we're not done. I wanna make you, I wanna extend this a little bit. Okay, so this is the home view. We're gonna emboss our name on the side here. So let's do that. So right click on that surface, click new sketch. Here you have the text tool. So we're gonna actually add some text. Click text. And on this area, you're gonna draw a little rectangle by clicking and dragging. A text menu is gonna pop up. And just write your initials, or a 4-letter word, short letters. We want a small little thing here. If you want to play with any of these things after the fact, you can. I'll show you how to do that, but right now just leave it on the default stuff. Click OK, and there is your name. Click finish sketch. Click emboss. Okay, so the profile we're going to select is your text, so it'll highlight. Click on it, and we want to engrave. So we're going to engrave and click OK. And there it is. It engraved my name onto the part. So that was one of the new skills in this lesson that I wanted you to pick up. Save the part. This is going to be EX05. And your name, make sure it's actually your name. It shouldn't say literally your name. Save. And move on to creating the technical drawing for this. Okay, so we're going to edit the sheet to say sheet 1 for the size. Delete ANSI large. Open up the drawing sources. Right click insert ANSI A. You should already know how to do all this stuff, so that's why I'm moving a lot faster. Click on base. Move your base to the left, and we're just going to match what we see here. So if you want to pause the video, start adding your dimensions, go for it. Otherwise, just continue watching what I do. Oops, let me cancel. Base, alright, so moving that over here. It's in half scale, which is a fine scale. Okay, 1:1. Let's see what 1:1 looks like. 1:1 is too big. Half scale's fine. Click OK. Move your isometric to the top right. Double click it. Make it shaded by clicking on this little button right here. And we're going to go around, and we need to make sure that we are in millimeters. Always do that. Go to Tools, Document Settings. Make sure your standard is ANSI mm. Apply and close. And let's start adding all of these dimensions that we see. Click on Annotate, Dimension. Oops. D for dimension. There's that one. We need to add center lines. That's this one right here, if you don't remember. Make sure to click on corners so that you get the correct visual of the dimension. Remember, extension lines do not touch the part. It's okay if the arrow touches the part just like that, that's okay. Okay, well, here we have a no-no. This is a no-no. Don't let your dimensions touch the edges of the drawing. So I'm going to press escape a couple times. I'm going to move my right view to the right, move everything else to the right with it. Make sure that there's enough space between everything so it's easy to read. So we got that 40. So that's this and this. We have that 65, that's from the center of that. All right, so that means we need to add a center line here. So click on this button, center line bisector. Click here and click here. Tapping escape, and we're going to make that longer. And we'll edit that to make it look prettier in a moment. Let's see, we have that 130 there. I think the 130 right here is a little redundant, but I'm going to add it anyway. And then we have all of these other dimensions. There we go. We have the 10, 20, 10, 20. We're going to fix all this in a moment. And then the 40 between the two corners. Dimension. Yep, that's right. I'm actually going to leave this on R25. I think that makes more sense. Okay, moving to the right side view. 10, 20, 10, that's 40. Oh, we need to add another center line between here and here. Double tapping escape and extending this line out. We'll make this, again, we'll go in and make it nicer. Just keep on track with me. We have another hole here for that slot. I don't think we need this 10 right here. That's redundant. We already know it's a thickness of 10 here. Okay, now let's go to the center mark. Right click the center mark, edit center mark style. Wait for the menu to pop up. Let's make A2, B2, overshoot 4. Let's make the extension 3. And save and close. That looks a little better. Maybe? Let me right click on this one. Edit center mark style. 2, 2. Okay, maybe that needs to be like 1.5. Save and close. No? Looks good here, but doesn't look good here. How do I get that in the center? We'll leave it like that for now. Alright, now let's go ahead and right click on one of the numbers and edit dimension style. And here we're going to go a little bit further. So with the units, make sure the precision is on 0. Click on text. Click on this button right here, make sure it says inline horizontal. And what else? Display, we have size. I think we'll just leave it at that. Okay, now let's just go through and move numbers. You literally can grab a number and move it so that it is in a better spot. In a later video, I'll show you how to actually edit the text so it looks nicer. And this is good. Alright, save it. And then make sure you update your eye properties. Okay, so that should be EX05, all caps, or exercise 05, subject engineering, author, that's your name, manager is me, Kenzo for the company, apply and close. And then file, export, PDF. And you're going to do that for every single part you make. Okay, there you go. That part was a little bit more complicated than the other ones, and it's going to keep doing that. Or we're going to keep looking through and making more complex parts. So like, for example, we have exercise 6 coming up. That one doesn't look as complicated, but look at exercise number 7. And then exercise number 8. And there's actually way more than this, but this is where we're starting. So that was exercise 05. Hope that worked out for you. If you have questions along the way, make sure you ask any questions. It's usually best to just pause the video and go back, pause and play until it clicks in your mind or you see exactly where I clicked. But of course, if you get stuck, make sure you get my help.